Hey folks, my name's Adrienne. Welcome back to Soul Experience 11. Today's a tuckered out take two kind of Tuesday. I actually created content yesterday, but because of how the format turned out, it just looks much better on IGTV. So the link will be down below. It's actually about how to choose crystals, how to get into the proper states to choose crystals, the vibrations that you want to feel. So I definitely think a lot of you would be into that. So check it out. I wanted to bring you a better YouTube quality video and also different content. I don't want to just keep, the same things on each thing. I want you guys to get abundance of info if you can. So today, and please hit that like, share, subscribe, the little bell, because sometimes, just depending on how I'm feeling, it might be a Metaphysical Monday, it might be a Tuckered Out Tuesday, but I will get that info into you when I can, for sure. Or, the episode up. So like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, hit those comments, because I know this is going to be kind of a controversial topic. So this is about angels, specifically Archangel Azrael. So I'm a huge believer in Archangel Saint Michael because he's my patron saint. I think because I deal with more challenging lost souls, Saint Michael's a badass. He will whoop an ass. So that's why I really like him. I really feel comfortable having him in my corner. And I also have a guide so when I was picking her up, her name was Sarah. It was the story I told about how to meet your guides, and it was Sarah. Well, I knew instinctively that it was spelled incorrectly, and I'm like, no, it's not Sarah like S-A-R-A, it's S-A-R-E, but to me that didn't make any sense. And again, I'm very spiritual. I was, brought up with religion, but I was never really religious. I think our family was just more like that. We were more spiritual. Yes, we went to church and stuff, but we were more spiritual than we were like religious. So I did a little bit of research, and Seraphim is what popped into my head, and I was like, what the heck is Seraphim? So I had to do research, and Seraphim are the angels that protect heaven. And I was like so taken aback by that and so humbled by that. So not only, do I ask Sarah, she's my guide as far as opening doors and helping me to cross people over. And that's why I don't worry about, more challenging souls. Anyway, I digress, because this is about a totally different angel. This is about Archangel Azrael. And he's the one that comes to pick us up when we die. And to be brutally honest, I'm sorry, I'm just going to get a little bit of water. To be brutally honest, I didn't believe that was an actual thing. Pardon me. Like, seriously, I was like, that's, a cool story. I just didn't think that he was legit or it was real. That an angel would come to pick you up. So it was an elderly family member of my ex, and this was years and years and years ago, and she had gotten sick, and this is obviously a mediumship story. So the minute I saw her, I knew she wasn't coming home, and I tried to prepare the family for that. I sat them down and I was like, look, this is end of life stuff. This isn't, she's going to get better in a week kind of stuff. And sure enough, about 2 days later, she ended up in hospice. And it was, I guess she had an episode that day. I was at work. And I asked my ex, who's staying with her tonight? And he's like, well, nobody, she's sleeping. Well, obviously she was sleeping. She was in like a medically induced coma pretty much. To keep her comfortable, because she had been in excruciating pain. And I just felt so unsettled. And so I just wanted to like rush through my shift, and I went and got him, and we, went and got some stuff, and we rushed to the hospice. So we get to the hospice, and it's very quiet, very peaceful. As we walk into her room, her bed's kind of perpendicular as you walk in, and there's like a guest bed, obviously for people to stay, like right, as you walk in the door. And then there's a tiny little bedside table next to her table with a very, very dim lamp on it. It was very dim in the room. So we, got settled in. It was pretty late by then, and, laid down. We're ready to kind of get some rest. And I had this feeling, and I looked over at her, and I could see the way that she was breathing. And I looked at my ex, and I was like, it's time. And he's like, what? I was like, it's time. And I got up, and I stood next to the table, or I'm sorry, to her, well, next to the table, onto her bed. And, some people can die with being held, but that was not, I knew instinctively that was not the case with her. She was very, very worried about her family. And I was very new to mediumship because I had blocked it for a very long time. I had a traumatic experience when I was about 16, which is why Saint Michael is my patron saint. I had actually a lost soul come to me as the devil, and they will do whatever they need to do to get your attention. But obviously as a 16-year-old, that freaked me out. And so I just, counted on Saint Michael, and I just kind of took a step back from that. So this was my first experience being at bedside as someone died as a medium. I had been around people that were dying through prolonged illness. And it's funny because they will stop making eye contact at a certain point. It's like they're halfway in and halfway out. And I do believe that it's kind of like when you're swimming, you dive down and then you come up for air, and then you dive down and you come up for air. And it's getting used to that. It's acclimating to that. So anyway, it was time, and I stood next to her bed, and I knew instinctively not to touch her. And I was telling her, it's going to be okay. Your family's going to be okay. It's time for you to go. And I felt 3 presences come. And it was 2 males and a female. And at that time, like I said, I wasn't about trying to figure out who they were. I was very new to this at that time. And I was telling her, look at your family, you go with them. Everyone here is going to be okay. And as I looked over again to the corner of the room to where the figures were standing, there was this huge whoosh sound. And I mean, it was undeniable. It was like a whoosh of air, and the light dimmed. And I was like taken aback by it because the energy was so powerful and palpable in the room. And just the way the light dimmed as the whoosh came, and it sounded like large wings. And I cannot make this stuff up because, like I said, I didn't believe that was like a thing before it actually happened. And I was just so stunned by it and taken aback by it. And by the time I looked back to her, which was, it was seconds, she was gone. So we, had to alert the nurses and, call all the other family members and let them know what had happened. So by the time all of the hubbub was kind of done, I looked over to my ex and I was like, did you see that? Did you feel that? And he was like, I was so excited. I wanted to talk about it, I was like taken aback. And he looked at me very seriously. And this is a big dude, It's not. Anyway, he looked at me very seriously and he's like, I did. And we are never going to talk about it ever again. And he seriously never talked to me about it ever again. And it freaked him out. And to me, it was so fascinating. And I think that I was meant to see that. And I think that I was meant to have that extra bit of A, experience, and B, faith. So again, I know this is going to be controversial because a lot of people in the spiritual world are like so uber against religion. And I don't, again, to me, this isn't a religious story. This is about, beings, like multidimensional beings, if you want to put it on that level. Like, it's just different. Anyway, so that is my story about the day that I met, or the night that I met Archangel Azrael, and I was so humbled by it. And it did help me so much, because to have that evidence of him, I knew for sure that ass whooping St. Michael was just as legit. And I haven't had that fear like that since. So thank you so much for listening to the story. And again, I know this is going to be a bit controversial, so I'm interested to see what you guys have to say down below in those comments. And again, this is Adrienne with Soul Experience 11. Thank you so much for stopping by. And again, hit that like, share, subscribe, the little bell, and leave a comment. Check out the IGTV episode in my description. Thank you for taking time on my Take Two Tuckered Out Tuesday. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but boom, I got that. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. Bye.